Lock in all sports, all plays, all 5% best bets from now until Super Bowl 57 on February 12th, 2023 from your favorite WagerTalk handicapper for only $1,199 versus a regular price of $1,999 for one total savings of $800. This limited time super discount comes out to less than $100 per month and only $3.28 per day. As an added bonus, your all access starts immediately. So the sooner you buy before Super Bowl 56, the more additional days you will get for free. Just go to WagerTalk.com, choose your favorite handicapper to lock in, and don't forget there is no limit to the amount of handicappers you can redeem our Super Bowl to Super Bowl offer on.
Welcome, everybody, to WagerTalk Today. I am Lawrence Presman, handsome as shit. He is Teddy Covers. Teddy shit's not even handsome. I don't think I gave myself a compliment. How are you, bro?
I'm lousy. How about yourself?
Well, that sucks. And I was a 10 out of 10. Now I'm a 9.8 out of 10 because you're lousy, so I lowered my percentage. I won my 5% last night in NHL, but did have a losing day. Lost both my hoops plays. So sorry about that to everybody who was my all access, but we're still rolling. Won 2 of my last 3 days, 6 of my last 9. Teddy, big show again, always. We now pretty much have 3 guests on every single day. Today's show, Steve Merril. He's going to talk about St. Mary's, ad nauseum for about 4 hours. Thank God that won't be on this show. Texas A&M, LSU, San Diego State, Utah State. We got Andrew McInnis coming on with extremely little notice. He's going to look at 2 NHL games, the Ducks and the Maple Leafs, and the Bruins and the Avalanche. Art DiCesare, your big game breakdown, which will be on the Kansas City Cincinnati game, so I'm excited to hear your take on that. What did you learn in the wonderful world of sports betting, brother?
My takes are fine. You know, the free plays are fine. The opinions on the show are fine. But man, my client plays have been in the tank. Since I flipped off the contrarian gods on Ranieri's NBA tip-off show, I stink. And it's really frustrating when you can't win the games where you're up. You know? And you have way too many wrong sides. I'm in a little bit of a funk right now. And I'm not a superstitious guy, Prez. I'm really not. You have your moments and you kid around. But, man, flipping off those contrarian gods is a lesson that I learned. At least didn't have the Wizards last night in the NBA. The Wizards, as tough a beat as you'll ever have in any sport. You know, not only they blow a 35-point lead, they blow most of it with 7 seconds left on the clock. But then again, it wasn't like Minnesota-Portland. The last 2.5 minutes of that game was fun for Minnesota backers. And, of course, -3, Prez, not profitable on the money line the way -1 and -2 are in the NBA. So
correct. Yep.
There you have it.
Yeah,
I'm in a bit of a funk, and I'm not enjoying it one bit.
Yeah, hey, listen, both my hoops plays last night were tough, man. I had the Denver Nuggets. They were up by like 12 or something and then screwed it up at the end. And I was on Illinois last night as well, also up by a whole bundle with like 5 to go and mucked it up at the end. Guys, real quick, before we bring Steve Merril in, Teddy called me last night, told me an awesome story. Literally turns to his wife and says, don't pretend. Like, come on, man. Everybody knows I speak the truth. Teddy turns to his wife last night and says, Kara, am I the only one you've ever slept with? And Kara says, no, all the others were 9 and 10s.
Nice.
Yeah! Saw that on TikTok. Stole it. I'm so addicted to TikTok. It's ridiculous. I literally try to take like 7 craps a day just so I can have private TikTok time in the washroom. Steve Merril joining us. Steve, were you one of those 9 and 10s that Kara enjoyed back in her day?
Just remember, people, tip the bartenders. Prez will be appearing this Friday and Saturday night at Joey Slapstick Comedy Club down the road, and cover
Oh,
charges.
there you go.
And
Dude,
recognize you're talking about my wife, bro. So chill.
I'm talking about my wife, man. Come on.
Yeah.
I gotta get in the middle of
Your
this. Teddy,
wife,
move me over.
dude.
I'll get in the middle. I'll get in the middle of this.
That's
I'll
my
stop
wife.
it.
Okay. Well,
My goodness.
I just for the record, I like your wife a hell of a lot better than I like you. Somebody in the chat room says Prez is a secret man crush on Teddy. Guys, I've seen Teddy with his shirt off. Prez does not have a man crush on Teddy under any circumstances. I mean, if I had like food caught in my teeth, I could use some of his chest hair maybe, but other than that, no. Sorry, Teddy, no man crush on you. But I do have on Kyle Anthony.
Yeah, I was just going to say, they're not
Anthony.
watching the show. Kyle Anthony, Andy Lang's eyes. I mean, there's so many guys Prez has a man crush on over me or Teddy. They're obviously not watching all the episodes.
I've never mentioned Andy Lang's eyes before. What are you talking about?
My goodness. Maybe that was a private conversation.
Andy Lang is a dude, flat out, cool as shit. Steve Merril, let's get straight into this, man. Texas A&M at LSU -8.5, a total of 129.5. They're expecting a low-scoring game. Where should we go in this one?
Well, and for good reason, because LSU is the most efficient defensive team in the country. I mean, we're talking about 358 Division I basketball teams, and LSU, when you have the adjusted defensive efficiency numbers, they rank number 1 in the country. The problem is they're not even top 100 in offense. In fact, they were barely 100 a week ago. Now they're like 130. They're slipping offensively. Have had some injuries, though. Point guard's been out, I think, for 4 straight games. He's a game-time decision, might be back tonight. One of their other shooting guards has been limited, has been banged up as well. So their offensive numbers have been really ugly over the past couple of weeks, but it's also coincided with getting into conference play. They haven't been as good against the tough SEC opponents. So I do think the under makes sense here. Texas A&M also a very good defensive team, a top 30 defensive efficiency in the country. They're also not even the top 100 offensively. So once again, both defenses hold substantial edges tonight. So I would agree with that under. And I would lean towards the dog also. A&M getting a good handful of points here. Whether the point guard plays for LSU or not, I think it'll be a little bit of a learning curve having him back in the lineup. If he doesn't play, they've obviously struggled without him. So that gets me looking at the dog, getting the 8.5 here, and also under the total.
So I want to talk about statistical profiles here for a minute, Steve, because this is something that I feel like if you had Arizona last night in the Arizona-UCLA game, and Arizona came into that game ranked number 2 defensively in the country at all of these defensive metrics. And, of course, they were in the game for about 5 minutes, and then that was it. UCLA blew them out. When you have a team with that elite statistical profile, like LSU has on the defensive side of the basketball court, at this stage of the season, and in a case of LSU, is not that great of a team. Do the markets overvalue that squad? Do the totals get too low for squads like that because those stats are so impressive? The only way LSU can go defensively now is down, not up. They're not going to get better defensively. They're number 1 team in the country in that regard. Does that concern you? This total is too low based on the profiles that, in particular, LSU brings to the table on the defensive end of the floor.
Yeah, it's interesting, Teddy, because the total actually opened as low as 126.5 last night. And then when I sent it over, it's like 129. Now it's about 131. And by the way, LSU opened about 11, was down to 8.5 last night. Now it's back up to 10.5. So it does look like the point guard's coming back, at least if you look at those line moves. So I would expect him to be in the lineup. I actually think this first game back, I'd be very cautious because, as I said earlier, when he missed 3 or 4 games, I'm not sure you just plug somebody back in. It's like not having your quarterback and then just plugging them back in. But I do agree with you. Over the next few weeks, there could be some sneaky value with the LSU over. I'd like to see that catalyst, though, where they actually have a good game offensively, which they haven't had in recent games. And one other thing I'll point out about LSU, which is very interesting, is yes, they have the most efficient defense in the country, but they actually play pretty fast. They don't play a slow-down half-court style, is what is so interesting about this team. They're actually in the top 100 in pace out of 358 teams. One other thing I'll point out, though, both teams have had turnover problems, LSU especially without the point guard. Turnovers obviously take away scoring opportunities. So even though LSU does play up-tempo, Texas A&M likes to slow things down. And LSU's played a lot of up-tempo SEC teams. I think their last 4 games have been against fast teams. So I do think tonight's matchup is not a good one for that reason. But going forward, you probably will be right. There will probably be some value at some point because, like you said, There's no upside with the defense. There is some upside with the offense, especially when they get healthy.
Steve Merril, what do you got to promote, brother? What's going on for your clients? How you doing in hoops? I know you've been killing it. I think you had a good NFL weekend. I could be wrong.
Yeah,
I
I
was
mean,
paying more attention to
NFL
mine.
NFL was actually 3-2, but we were 5-0 last week, so 8-2 overall in the NFL playoffs. So yeah, it's been a great NFL playoffs right now. 8-2, 80%, 3-0 sweep on Sunday, by the way. So great time to get on board the NFL, right? We got conference championships this Sunday, Super Bowl around the corner. Don't forget my NFL Fade the Public video is still up every weekend here on WagerTalk TV. And college hoops, of course, number one the last 2 years combined since I joined the site. I'm the number one ranked college basketball handicapper the past 2 years combined. So it's a great time to get all sports. And now's the time to do it. And you get the next 2 weeks for free when you buy the annual package. It's a fantastic offer right now. You're getting an $800 discount off a full annual package through next Super Bowl 57 next year in 2023. And if you sign up now, you get the next 2 weeks along the way for free. So every day you wait is a day you're missing another free day. So start today on Wednesday. I've got a strong basketball card tonight. Steve Merril, WagerTalk.com.
Oh, yeah, that'd be me now. I need to talk. Yeah.
Sure.
Just
I was
refresh.
just-
Keep working on whatever you're working
You know what
on.
I was thinking?
browser
You want to
because
know what
saw
I
that
was
post.
thinking while you were talking, Steve? I was thinking, you got to be the best promo guy. Like, you come on the show, and I don't think anyone is better than giving out promos than you are. So, I mean, I'm in, man. It's like you could sell water to me while I swim in the ocean.
Well, I'll tell you, Prez, the thing is, I just
medium
speak the
analogy.
truth, man. I speak the truth. But unfortunately, I was so good there, I just refreshed my damn browser because I thought I froze because I didn't hear anything. I was like, great, that promo just went for nothing. So I'm glad you heard it. I thought I was going to have to do it again.
Oh yeah, bro. Oh yeah. San Diego State, Utah State -2.5, 126.5. Wow, you picked two snooze fests. What's up?
Oh man, there's a lot of snooze fest I could
It's a
have picked.
great
That,
basketball game, snooze.
yeah, I was going to say that SEC game is actually at 9 Eastern. I believe it's nationally televised. I didn't check, but then this is actually the late night special. It's the latest game on the board, the only 10:30 Eastern game tonight. So trust me, I was looking at some ugly ones. I almost used the Citadel and Western Carolina, and I purposely didn't because I wanted to talk big games. This one's interesting because some good handicapping angles I want to talk about in this one. First of all, San Diego State, another really good half-court defensive team that can be ugly at times offensively. And boy, do I know. Had a good college basketball run the past 2 years, as I talked about. But unfortunately, I had them Saturday night. You know, Teddy, if you told me their opponent, Boise, was only going to score 42 points, I would have made the play even stronger. Unfortunately, San Diego State is a 4.5-point favorite, only put up 37 on their own. And then what do? The next 2 nights later, they come out and they win 80-55 against UNLV. So I think they regress again tonight. This is a very dicey offensive team. They're good defensively, but here we got the altitude edge for Utah State. This is a team that plays in high altitude. San Diego State, of course, is a beach team. So this is an angle I always look at in college hoops. And yes, Utah State is just 4-4 at home this season, but it's a little misleading because they haven't had that altitude edge recently. They just lost to Boise last week. They play at altitude. And then their other home loss before that was Wyoming, another team that's not sea level. So I think they take advantage of what's historically a strong home court. And Utah State still very good offensively, 48% shooting on the season. San Diego State only 42%. And on the road this year, Aztecs have been just awful. They've gone 2-3 straight up, 59 points a game, 38.5% shooting, 24% from three, and 53% from the free throw line. So I think Utah State's a live home dog in this one, getting the 1.5.
So Utah State is one of these teams that has absolutely found ways to lose consistently in recent weeks. The only win they have since mid-December came against the lowly New Mexico in overtime. I bet against them last time out at home in that Boise game. They had a 3-point lead with a little over a minute to play and gave up the 3 to tie and the 3 to win and had a bunch of empty possessions offensively down the stretch. And that's been consistent for Utah State. The last 2, 3, 4 minutes of their games have been disasters repeatedly. And here's another point spread where they're going to have to execute down the stretch to get the job done. Does that concern you for a team that has failed over and over again in this very role of executing down the stretch of tight games?
Yeah, I mean, there's two ways to look at it, right, Teddy? Like you said with LSU, there's nowhere to go but down. You're the number one ranked defense, right? Well, they have that luck factor. I think Ken Pom puts it up. Out of the 358 teams, Utah State's been the 10th or the 11th most unlucky team this year in college basketball. And I don't really ever use the luck factor because basically that's based on straight up wins. It's saying they should have a lot more straight up wins than they do. So, it doesn't really apply to the point spread. So I don't look at it much. But in this case, when the line is 1.5, obviously it's kind of a straight up win situation. So that goes to exactly what you're talking about, is that Utah State should be a lot better than their overall record indicates at 10-9. And they're top 80, both offense and defensive efficiency this year. So they're a balanced team. They're a pretty good team. Two ways to look at it, right? I don't like to try to catch a falling knife, as you guys know. And, you could say that's what Utah State is right now after covering just one of their last 6. But I think they're actually an underrated team. I think it's not a good spot for San Diego State. They have a substantial offensive edge, and we factor in that home court and the altitude. I think we get some value. They would have been favored in this game just a couple weeks ago.
Steve Merril, everybody. Steve, I'm not letting you go without talking NFL. Sorry about that. First off, thanks for covering for me while I was in Punta Cana. You're Teddy. Good news. Steve's going to be covering for me a lot. I'm off skiing in Utah in about 2 weeks. Get back the week after. I'm off to Florida. Get back 2 weeks later. I'm going to Vegas. Get back 3 weeks after that. I'm off to Aspen. So I got a hell of a couple of months ahead of me. So Steve will be sitting in my chair a lot. Steve, you don't need to get into any analysis or anything. Couple of words. Kansas City -7, total of 54. Real quick, anything?
Well, I'll just say quickly, I was a little surprised the line came this high. The Chiefs, of course, were 3.5 point home, road favorite, lost outright 34-31. But it does, and it looks like there's a little bit of public love, on +7 or more. So it'll be interesting to see if it holds this key number come this weekend.
What I love about this game is that, we're going to have Allen, Herbert, Burrow, Mahomes. These guys are dueling for the next 15 years. It's just going to be interesting to watch all four and which one ends up the Mac Daddy at the end of it all. Rams now mostly 3.5s out there. Total 46.5. Any quick thoughts in this game?
Yeah, and by the way, the total's really risen on that Cincy game. That looks very public as well. I thought they opened that a little low. Rams were a 3.5 point favorite in both games this year, and the Niners won them both outright. They've now covered, 6 straight or something, or won 6 straight in this series, and now they're 3.5 once again. So it's pretty ironic it's on that key, crossed over that key number for the 3rd straight time.
Steve Merril, everyone. Steve, outstanding work. Great stuff, guys. We're going to take a quick break. Teddy's big game breakdown coming up. It's on the Kansas City game. So stay tuned. We got Andrew McInnis' NHL. We got Art DiCesare. If we hit 100 likes, we'll have the NFL and the daily presidential address, which stunk yesterday. We'll be right back, everyone.
Lock in all sports, all plays, all 5% best bets from now until Super Bowl 57 on February 12, 2023 from your favorite WagerTalk handicapper for only $1,199 versus a regular price of $1,999 for one total savings of $800. This limited time super discount comes out to less than $100 per month and only $3.28 per day. As an added bonus, your all access starts immediately. So the sooner you buy before Super Bowl 56, the more additional days you will get for free. Just go to WagerTalk.com, choose your favorite handicapper to lock in, and don't forget there is no limit to the amount of handicappers you can redeem our Super Bowl to Super Bowl offer on.
Time for today's big game breakdown. Let's talk some AFC Championship game action. The Kansas City Chiefs and the Cincinnati Bengals. Joe Burrow and Patrick Mahomes. Right now, looking at the WagerTalk live odds screen, I'm seeing KC -7 just about everywhere. Total, let's call it 54.5. There is some variance. You can find 54s. You can find 55s on the total. So it is worth shopping around for whichever bet you were looking to make, whether it's over or under. These two teams played just a few weeks back, week 17 in Cincinnati, and that was a wild game. The Chiefs led by 2 touchdowns on 3 separate occasions. I think they led 14-0, 21-7, and 28-14. And each time, Joe Burrow, who threw for 446 yards and 4 touchdowns in that game, rallied Cincinnati back. This is a Bengals team that's exceeded all expectations. All right, now we're talking about Joe Burrow trying to go into Arrowhead against Patrick Mahomes, against the team that's played in the past 2 Super Bowls. Talking about Zach Taylor trying to outcoach Andy Reid in a game of this magnitude. All that being said, all right, so when you think about it, you're like, no, do we trust Taylor against Reid? Maybe not. Can Burrow hang with Mahomes? Maybe he can. All right, Burrow's at 73% here in the postseason. He took 9 sacks last week and guided his team to victory, which tells us 2 things. 1, how tough he is, and 2, the Bengals' offensive line certainly had some issues. Now, when we look at Kansas City's defense compared to Tennessee's defense, it's night and day. Titans defense filled with playmakers. KC's defense, not so much. KC's pass rush, not so good. All right. Chiefs, only one team in NFL history that scored 40-plus in back-to-back playoff games. That was the Bills in their first Super Bowl. And the third game, after scoring 40 in back-to-back, they scored 19 and lost as favorites. Teams off an OT win in the postseason, like Kansas City. And both these teams left it all on the field last week. But KC was on the field for longer, and they played later. Teams off an OT win in the postseason, just 6-10 straight up and ATS the week after. I do have my concerns about Cincy's offensive line, but I don't have concerns about Cincy's passing game. And we're talking about a full touchdown in a game that, more than one person has said, yeah, that feels just a little bit high. Which means, again, the Chiefs win by 7, not good enough to get the money. I think Cincy hangs. I know that last week was a weekend where all dogs all the time, with the exception of the final game, which went to overtime. The first week of the postseason was all favorites all the time. Just the one dog getting the victory. There's certainly some recency bias to the thought process that this week is going to be dogs as opposed to favorites. But at +7, Cincy's too good to get +7 against a KC team that is going to have a hard time, I think, matching the intensity that they put together last week, even with all this on the line. And it's not like Andy Reid's never lost a conference championship game at home. Give me the Bengals plus. And there's your big game breakdown. Back to you, Mr. Prez.
The Bengals it is, Teddy. Before we bring Andrew on, I just want to read something. Some of our competitors put up these testimonials on their websites, like front page, like great real estate testimonial. We don't normally do that. I mean, firstly, it takes up incredible real estate. Secondly, ultimately, it can just be made up. I mean, it's not like anybody knows those testimonials are real, for Christ's sake. And thirdly, who the hell's putting up a bad testimonial? With that said, we did get a customer email in last night, and I do want to read. It's long, but I want to read just the beginning for you guys, and it's totally legit, totally true. His name's Cameron. I just wanted to submit a testimonial of sorts and say thank you, WagerTalk. Strictly using my WagerTalk picks, mainly Marco and VR, but also Bobby Adams, Steve Merril, and Brian Leonard. I have turned a $1,000 deposit into my sports books into $60,000.
Well done. Kudos.
Yeah, man. That is freaking awesome. I mean, that made my day, dude. That balances the fact that we got to put up with Andrew McInnis. Andrew, welcome to WagerTalk Today, brother.
That is unbelievable, and those emails are just great to hear for all of us.
Yeah.
It's encouraging, it's exciting, and not only do we love the family we have, all the cappers and people that work for WagerTalk, but the customers. Those emails are great, guys.
One of our listeners, Eric S., writes, Prez, how do you perform for your clients during these vacations that you're on? Firstly, for my girl, I perform exceptionally, especially on vacation. Secondly, I was away for 7 days last week. I won 5 of those 7 days. The answer is it's no different. I still do my work. Andrew, man, look,
I have a
joining
question
us.
for Teddy. If I can ask Teddy a question
Go,
here.
go.
How do you what are you looking at, Teddy, or how do you manage to just stay so calm and just absolutely frozen when Prez says some of his stuff that he says? Because I can't even tell right now if you're frozen or if you're okay. There we go. You're still here. Today on Puck Time, Prez said something, and I actually had to say, "Carm, are you frozen?" Because he just had no idea what to say or how to react. How do you stay so calm? I have no idea what Prez is going to say on Puck Time, and you're just like. I just look over at you, Teddy. You're so calm. You just.
So the stoicism comes from experience. Prez and I first did a show together. What was it, 2007, 2008?
Yeah.
We did 2 years of shows together before WagerTalk Today started. So the answer is I've done it before. And it's fine. But yeah, you got to stay stoic. But he makes my blood, the blood pressure rise as much as anybody else. And you've seen me blow up at him. It just happens. It is what it is.
It's good for us.
Yeah. Are you both done?
No,
I'm
fine.
good. Let's talk some hockey.
Okay. Maple Leafs, Anaheim Ducks. Andrew, the total was 6. There are 5.5s out there now. The Maple Leafs are a huge favorite. -1.5 on the puck line is also juiced, -115. How do we bet this game?
So, like you mentioned at the top there, I mean, there are 5.5s available, not just a few. There's plenty of 5.5s available here. And look, this Anaheim Ducks team, it's very easy to say they're overperforming right now. I mean, they had a decent game against Tampa Bay, scoring 5 goals against them. They put up 5 goals following that game against the Boston Bruins, albeit against Tuukka Rask, goaltender coming back after not playing for a long time. The Anaheim Ducks are scoring some goals right now. But I worry about that tonight. If they can keep the puck out of their own net tonight. Toronto Maple Leafs, they've been playing some really tough teams. They're back home after a road trip. Usually when you see a team first game back home after a road trip, there's one of 2 things that I look to do. Either number 1, you fade that team, their first game back at home. It's a strategy people use in every sport. Or number 2, I look towards the over because I'll expect some sloppy play. I don't think Anaheim can sustain the way they've been playing, the past 2 games against some pretty quality teams. But I do think that we're going to see some pep in their step and some positivity and momentum on their end. And between these 2 teams, mix in some defensive injuries for the Leafs guys, I do believe we can get over 5.5 and use the WagerTalk live odds. You can check out which sports books are giving you the 5.5 and over 5.5 is my play here.
So let's talk about another game with a high total, or a game with a high total. The first one, 5.5, not a high total, but we've seen over money come in on this Bruins Avalanche game. Looking at the WagerTalk live odds screen, I'm seeing anywhere from -170 to -180 on Colorado, but it's clear there's money to the over. 6 juice to -25, 6 juice to -30. Do you think this one's going to be a high scoring affair, or are we interested in the side in this one?
I do think it could be a high-scoring contest, Teddy, but in this one in particular, I will just focus on the side in this one. And one thing I wanted to mention before I jump into Colorado is just Boston's goaltending situation right now. So basically, they had a player that semi-retired, a goaltender, Tuukka Rask. He comes back after being healthy, didn't get a chance to have a training camp, didn't get a chance to have a preseason, didn't get a chance to play in the minors. For you NBA fans, that's the same as the G League, okay? He gets back. He has one good start against Philadelphia. Then he plays against Carolina, and Anaheim gets shelled in both those. There's a goaltending issue right now in Boston. There's a depth issue right now in Boston. It's only a few guys doing all the scoring for them. And you toss all that together, and you mix that Brad Marchand is reported to be playing injured right now. As we all know, one of the best goal scorers on that team. And now let's talk about Colorado, a team that, looking at the last couple games for them, scoring 2 goals in one, 3 goals in the other. This is a team that even when they're winning right now, I'm not impressed. And that's what to me is the most impressive part. This team, if they're not scoring 5 or 6 goals, it almost seems like a bad game for them. That's what's so great about this team. They're finding ways to win, absolutely, but they've had a few bad games in a row, I'll say, and they've won those games. the puck line is the play here. You can get it around plus 125, 130 for the Colorado Avalanche. I just do not think Boston can hang here. And this Avalanche team, guys, is not really a team that the Bruins are going to get any momentum against and bounce back against whatsoever. So Colorado at home, great record for them there. I'll take them on the puck line.
Awesome stuff, Andrew. I know you've been absolutely rolling in NHL. So, guys, I mean, pay attention to what Andrew was just saying. Andrew, promo code Streaks Runs. You got yourself 30 seconds. Let's go.
70% NHL since middle of November. Number one at the website.
Wow.
Score
Wow.
$299 gets you $299 rest of the season plus playoffs. That's Score $299. Don't bother with just one play. Get the whole season. Jump on everything I release, whether it's overnight, whether it's late in the afternoon. Every single play, rest of the season. Score $299. Thanks a lot, guys.
Andrew McInnis, great stuff. And tomorrow we've got Carmine Bianco talking NHL. Teddy, we can see Art. We're not going to bring him in yet. I want to read another statement by Tony Tucci. Tony writes, I've turned my $100 deposit in November 2019. So 28 months ago, give or take. Oh, longer than that. We're in 2022 already. Anyway, he turned his $100 deposit into $10,000 just listening to Puck Time and Wager Talk Today. Freaking dude, that is awesome. This shit is making my day.
And that is 28 months, Prez. Just if you want to do the math on it.
So I was right. See, when I do the math quick, I get it right. When I take time to think, I get it wrong. Why? Because I'm old. Art DiCesare! What up, brother? Is that a hat you got going on? Like backward hat thing?
I'm rocking. I'm trying. You know what, Prez? I'm trying to be like you, like the cool kids on TikTok. I'm just trying to be young and fresh, and I want to relate to you.
Well, firstly, I'm old and rotten. And secondly, you are young and fresh. Anyway, you don't need to try. And if you try to be cool, you're just a fool. And there's my rhyme for the
Fair
day.
enough.
Art DiCesare joining us, everyone. Art, man, I missed you last week. I was away. I hope you gave out great info, but man, let's get right into this. Let's talk NFL. Let's start with last week. Where was the money? How did your book do? Blah, blah, blah. Give us some info.
So it was basically a tale of 2 days. Sunday was not great. Saturday was like record breaking. Saturday was amazing. So the weekend overall was a really good weekend. And yeah, it was a very, very positive day for the Westgate Sportsbook. I'll say that. Or positive weekend.
So Saturday's great, Sunday not as great. Now, when you guys have a big win, a day like Saturday, you were saying record breaking. Are you in the back high fiving each other? Like, how do the books react? How do the managers and the directors and the supervisors in the book? How do you react when you have a big day? Are you excited, or is it just another day, another dollar?
You know, we definitely are excited, and there's almost like the feel of, because we have the next day, like a pitcher pitching a no-hitter. Like we kind of whisper to each other, like, yeah, okay, we had a good day. But we know that there's a day to come. So we don't start really high-fiving and hugging yet. We're kind of just low-fiving and saying, all right, good day, but, we got to see what tomorrow brings as well. So listen, whenever you have a day like we did on Saturday, there's always acknowledgement of, wow, what a day. But like anything, you have to move on to the next day.
All right, I got to ask you a follow-up on this, and it's more conceptual. Most people sit there and think, the sports books, they want even money, and they want to make their juice. Minus 110, if they can have even money all the way through, they just take the 10%. That covers their operating cost. I think you end up with somewhere around 4% net profit. But whatever, the question I have for you is, I'm listening to you talk about how you had a great day, and that would suggest to me and imply that you aren't on equal sides. how often are you heavy on one side versus equal taking the juice as your income?
Well, Prez, as you said, the old adage is, yeah, if we could get equal amounts on either side, we'll take our 10% and we'll move on. And that's what most people think. And there is some truth to that. But I think to answer your how heavy do we get on certain sides, there are definitely some games that can be swayed that way. Obviously, sitting here on a Tuesday or Wednesday or Thursday night with an NHL game, NBA game, college basketball game, that's not going to happen. It's going to happen on these big events. It's going to happen on these Super Bowls, playoff games, college football national championship, bowl games, that type of thing. So on those singular events, yeah, you can have sides where it's 60, 65, 70% swayed to one side. And at that point, you're really booking. You're really a bookmaker. You're really sitting there and you're not worried about taking your 10% and moving down the road. You're really hoping that the numbers that you've put out and the way you've moved your numbers are going to end up being okay for you, because you could be so heavily sided on one game. And there's so much money bet on these playoff games that, you can stand to, on Saturday, make a really nice profit, and on Sunday, give a portion of it back.
And still end up with an okay weekend. Just to be clear on the percentages here, because we're throwing around this 10%, and I just want to make sure that our viewing and listening audience understands that when you have equal action on both sides, all right, you have $110 to win 100 on the one side, you have $110 to win 100 on the other side. You're going to pay out a total of $210 off the 220 that you took in. That equates to a 4.5% profit for the book, which profit's not the right word. 4.5% hold for the book, which then they have to pay all their costs out of. So, but if you do enough volume and you're making 4.5% on every bet, you can pay all your supervisors, you can keep the lights on, you can keep the managers going, and you end up making money if you do enough volume. It's not unusual for books to be comfortable taking positions on these games. So their theoretical return or their theoretical hold might be a little bit higher when a bunch of bettors are on the other side. Art, let's talk about the two playoff games for this weekend. I did a big game breakdown talking about the early one earlier on this show. So let's start with that one. Looking at the WagerTalk live odds screen, I'm seeing the Westgate 7-55, Chiefs and Bengals. What action have you seen so far? What action do you expect to see before we get to kickoff? And who do you like, side or total?
So just looking at the game, basically it's been 7 and just has not wanted to budge off 7 for us. Total is the one that's moved more. We had it 53.5. When I was at work yesterday, it was 54. By the time I left work yesterday, it got to the 55. So we've seen good over money come in, basically 3-1 ticket count on the over. I don't think there's any surprise that people want to bet overs anyway. And when you look at these two offenses with Burrow and Mahomes, they played a couple weeks ago. I believe the score was 34-31, 65 points. So right there, people are going to look at that. I think eventually Kansas City will be in all the money lines. They'll be in all the teasers. I think plenty of people will look at that 7 points. And like you said, Teddy, in your big game breakdown, it's too many points in a championship game, and people will be happy. I think the sharper players will be happy to take Cincinnati with 7. I think public will just come in and say, there's no way Mahomes and this bunch lose at home. I don't care what happened a couple weeks ago that was in Cincinnati. We'll lay the 7. And like I said, they're going to money line Kansas City with whoever they like in the second game. There's no doubt about it. And I think they'll tease Kansas City with whoever they like in the second game as well. Right now, though, as far as this game goes, our big liability so far is on the over.
So currently there's one-sided action for the total. You're anticipating Chiefs money at some point between now and kickoff, correct? At least the public will be on Kansas City in this game. Or do you think this is going to be two-way action the whole way?
I could really see some two-way action. I think it will be split in the guys and girls who come in during the weekend and come for conference championship weekend. They'll take Kansas City, and they'll take Kansas City in multiple ways, not just the side, but with the money line and teaser, like I mentioned. But I do think the sharper players, the players who feel good about getting a key number of 7 in a championship game, are going to be happy to take 7 with the Chiefs. With Cincinnati. There's no doubt about it. I'd be interested to see if there's any sprinkling on Cincinnati with the money line. I haven't seen that so far. I've seen more people wanting to lay the 320, 330 with Kansas City on the money line, feeling comfortable doing that.
Art DiCesare joining us, everyone. Westgate Superbook supervisor. Oh, Detroit what in the chat room? KC will kill Cincy. It reminded me, I'm lying at the pool in Punta Cana, and I'm listening to a conversation that's like a little bit down, 5 chairs down, 6 guys sitting around. Tennessee will kill Cincinnati. This game won't even be close. What a joke. What a joke. Tennessee's going to annihilate them. I love listening to people talk sports betting. Art, I got to ask you a real quick question before we get into NBA and college hoops.
We have a second NFL game to talk about, what you're supposed to lead right into, that you asked me to lead right into. But you can ask him the question off topic. That's great.
Go ahead, Jay. Go ahead. Art, second NFL game. That was literally where I was going. Teddy didn't realize I was going there, but I was.
Okay.
We got 3.5s mostly in this Rams game, Art. It was all over the place yesterday. There were a bunch of 3s available. I want to hear what your thoughts are on this game, where you think the line is going to end, any big bets coming in that we should know about. And also, should people buy 3.5 down to 3? I hand the mic to you.
Well, on this game, we opened at Niners 4, and we've seen nothing but Niners money. The Niners have been consistently over these last 2 to 2.5 months a very bought team for not only the public, but the sharper bettors. People have liked to take the Niners. Obviously, they have covered and won both games as dogs in this playoff. They won both matchups against the Rams in the season. They won 6 in a row. The Rams are interesting. The Rams have a ton of talent. We usually see pretty good Ram money come in. So I wonder, when the people come in for the weekend, what happens? Do we get some two-way on it? Like you said, we're sitting at 3.5 right now. It's even money on the 3.5 with the Rams. Totals really had no movement. Basically sitting at 46, like 46.5. So not a lot of movement on the total so far. Moneyline with San Francisco plus 160 has gone to plus 155. So right now, all San Francisco money. We will be needing the Rams as we speak here on a Wednesday morning. Obviously, a long way to go until we kick off on Sunday.
Great info on the upcoming NFL championship game weekend from Art DiCesare, straight from the Westgate Superbook here in Las Vegas. Of course, Art's a great follow on Twitter at ArtDice21. Art, just a few minutes left before we let you go. Give us some actionable info, whether it's college basketball for tonight, NBA for tonight, NHL for tonight. Where are you seeing the sharp money going? Anything you like? What would you like to share with our clients in terms of the betting action for actionable stuff today?
I'm going to give you an actionable info game in each of the sports that we're going to be having on tonight. NHL, you saw the Red Wings open minus 125. It's gone to minus 110, so you've seen some Blackhawk money come in. NBA, not a huge move, but Knicks at Heat, it was 6, now 5.5. So a little bit of Knick money coming in. And as a Knick fan, I don't understand it. The Knicks are miserable. And then in college basketball, Marquette at Seton Hall, opened 4, now 5.5. Good Seton Hall money has come in so far in that game.
Art DiCesare, everybody. Art, quick question. Australian Open underway. You take any type of action on this tennis?
Prez, we do. It's definitely a smaller handle and a little bit of a niche type of market. But, when you're sitting in the sports book late at night and it's 9, 10 o'clock and we have a couple more hours of operation, that's the only thing we have on the screens. We got the volume going. All the games are done. So it is something that people have in. Australian Open to me is always like a parlay builder a little bit. People like to throw in a couple, hey, let's just throw Nadal in, or, throw these big names in on a parlay that they had with a couple NBA games or a couple college basketball games, and then wake up the next day and see what happens. But yes, we do see some nice action on the Australian Open, because it is almost kind of like a standalone. It's just sitting there, and late in the sports book, that's all you have on.
Art DiCesare. Great info, my friend. Talk about what's going on at the Westgate right now. Talk about what's going on your Twitter account, ArtDice21. Promo, my friend. Here's your chance.
Well, as you know, guys, it's obviously going to be a busy couple of weeks coming up here. It should be a really fun championship weekend. We've had great crowds the last couple of playoff weekends. I expect nothing less this weekend. And then obviously once we get through this championship weekend, we'll start building our prop packet. We'll start getting all the big stuff out for the big games. So, just anything you ever need, you come down to the Westgate, you ask for Arthur DiCesare, and I'll be more than happy to help you with anything you need, getting you set up with whatever information or anything you need to make your experience better at the Westgate. You just come down and you ask for me.
Awesome stuff. Art DiCesare, thanks for joining us. We'll see you next Wednesday. Guys, it's time. Let's go. Daily Presidential Address. Woo! All right. Okay, yesterday's Daily Presidential Address was a total nightmare. I get it. I lost them all. I'll bounce back. I got 2 NHL plays for you guys tonight and a tennis bet as well. I just want to make mention we won our 5% in hockey last night. Yes! Tonight, I have 3 hockey plays up. I haven't had a 3-pack in hockey in maybe over a month. I also have 1 NBA play up. I'm on an 11-4 NBA run. I got 1 college basketball play up, and I'm on a 6-2 college basketball run. So check that out. You can get it all over at WagerTalk.com. As for our plays tonight, Washington Capitals in regulation, small amount of juice on that play. I like them a lot. Great spot for them. And Columbus and Calgary to go over the total of 6 goals. I think you can bet Columbus over the total blindly in every game and make money this year. I think they're 24-14 to the over. So I really like the over here. Anytime you can get Columbus over 5.5 or 6, just bet it blind. As for tennis, Tsitsipas to win the Australian Open at plus 450. There are 4 guys left. Medvedev at minus 110, Nadal at plus 240, Tsitsipas at plus 450, and Berrettini, who my woman just thinks is so dreamy, at plus 700. Take Tsitsipas at plus 450. I think he wins it. That's it for the Daily Presidential Address. Tomorrow, Dave Koken, Carmine Bianco, and Ralph Michaels on Wager Talk Today. Teddy, Montreal smoked meat sandwich. Can't wait. Hungry as shit. Take us home.
Sure. That's going to wrap it for the Wednesday edition. I want to thank Andrew McInnis, Steve Merril, and Arthur DiCesare for joining us. I want to thank you guys for taking time out of your busy day. Hang out with us here on Wager Talk Today. We'll do it again tomorrow. Same time, same channel, 9 a.m. here on the left coast, noon for you back east. You know the drill. Between now and then, enjoy the games, and good luck.
Lock in all sports, all plays, all 5% best bets from now until Super Bowl 57 on February 12, 2023 from your favorite Wager Talk handicapper for only $1,199 versus a regular price of $1,999 for one total savings of $800. This limited time super discount comes out to less than $100 per month and only $3.28 per day. As an added bonus, your all access starts immediately. So the sooner you buy before Super Bowl 56, the more additional days you will get for free. Just go to WagerTalk.com, choose your favorite handicapper to lock in, and don't forget there is no limit to the amount of handicappers you can redeem our Super Bowl to Super Bowl offer on.